Hello students, I'm back with another poem that comes in the second unit of World Literature in Translation. As usual, I'll share my PowerPoint with you. Okay. This is a simple poem, If You Forget Me, but the name of the poet is a pretty lengthy one, a long one, which is difficult to pronounce. Ricardo Eliezer Neftali Reyes Basalto. I don't know whether the pronunciation is correct. It's a Spanish name. And luckily, he was known to the literary world by his pen name, which later became his legal name too, Pablo Neruda. You can have a look at him. He's a very erudite person. He was born on 12th July 1904 in Chile, and he was not only a poet but a diplomat too. He established himself as a poet at a very, very young age, started publishing at the age of 13, and he wrote on variety of styles. His poems include surrealist poems, autobiographies, political manifestos, then passionate love poems. He is known more for his passionate love poems, which were collected in the title 20 Love Poems and a Song of Despair, which came out in the year 1924. And he got so much acclaim as a poet that he was awarded Nobel Prize for Literature in 1971. And he died on 23rd September 1973. So this is the biography of the poet. Now we come to the setting of the poem, which is very, very important for the understanding of the poem. He was a communist senator in Chile. He believed in communism, and one of his friends and companion only came to power. But once he came to power, he, started to deviate from communism, and communism failed in Chile. So in 1948, when Pablo Neruda had to go on exile with his family, and he went to Mexico and he spent there 13 months. And this particular poem was believed to have been written in that period. It was written during that period of exile. And it speaks directly to his mistress. This poem is addressed to his mistress, Matilda Urrutia, who was not his wife at that time. His wife at that time was Delia del Carril, and this poem was addressed not to his wife but to his mistress, Matilda Urrutia, who later on became his wife. So the poem is addressed to Matilda. Now I told you this is a love poem, but it can be read in two ways. It can be read as a poem, his love for the country as well as the love for his mistress. When you look at the superficial level, a literary level, or as a piece of poem, it can be a simple love poem addressed to his mistress. But when you understand the background and look at it in a very detailed way, the connotative meaning of the poem can be different, and it could be seen as a poem written to display his love for his country, because this poem was written when he was in exile. So it is a patriotic poem too. Now we come to the poem, If You Forget Me. The text is a simple text. Anyone can read and understand. We will go through the poem. I want you to know one thing. This is the first answer. The first answer comes in two lines, just two lines, and it is a continuation of the title. Maybe the poet is trying to say, if you forget me, I want you to know one thing. You know, I love you, and if you choose to forget me, what? I have something to tell you. So this is a continuation of the title. You know how this is. If I look at the crystal moon and the red branch of the slow autumn at my window, if I touch near the fire, the impalpable ash, or the wrinkled body of the log, everything carries me to you, as if everything that exists were little boats that sail toward the islands of years that wait for me. Highly romantic lines, and you may enjoy this. You know how this is. If I look at the crystal moon, if I look at any object in nature, actually those objects take me to years, to you. Actually, everything in nature or everything he looks at, he beholds, reminds him about his lady love. That's what the poem is about. So he says the crystal moon. When moon is said to be very romantic of all the other images. So when he looks at the moon, he's reminded of the lady love. And then the slow autumn, you know, when during the autumn season, what happens? The leaves are go red and fall down. So when he looks through his window, he could see the red leaves, and that also reminds him maybe the red cheeks of his lady love. So Anyway, it reminds him about the lady love. And if I touch near the fire, even the fire, you know, when you touch the fire, it burns your hand. But it reminds him about the passionate nature of the mister. So the fire also reminds him about that, not only the fire, the impalpable ash, the difficult to be defined ash. You know, ash can only be felt, you know, it has no shape or something. So impalpable means indefinable or difficult to be touched. So when he touches the ash also, he's reminded about his lady love or the wrinkled body of the log. Personification here, log is personified into a human being whose skin is said to be wrinkled. So whatever, the beautiful things as well as the old things, everything reminds him about his lady love. As if everything that exists, aromas, the sweet smell, the light, the metals, they were all little boats. Again, another kind of comparison metaphor comes. All the images are little boats that takes him to the island of years. So the lady love has been imaged here, metaphored here as a island, and all these thoughts are the boats, are the vehicle that carries him to the island of his lady love. Hope you understood. The first stanza speaks of, it's very romantic and it talks about the passionate feeling that the poet has for his lady love, Matilde, whom he loves a lot. Though the first line, first two lines appear to be a kind of warning or a threatening, the next stanza is highly romantic and it talks about how everything in nature, every metal, every smell, every feeling, including the burnt feeling, everything takes him to the lady love, and all the images are considered to be the boats which takes him to the island. So the lady love is the island to whom the thoughts are carrying him to. So very romantic thought. You move. Well, now if little by little you stop loving me, I shall stop loving you little by little. Very, very with sudden change in the tone of the mood. From a romantic mood, he goes to a very threatening mood. Right? He says, okay, all is fine. I love you, all that is there. But if you choose to forget me little by little, maybe he's now undergoing a very unfavorable time in his life. Maybe the lady chose to forget him, then I would like to remind you that if you chose to forget me little by little, you can get only that kind of a treatment from me too. I will also forget you little by little. If suddenly, but if you chose to, put an end to this relationship all on a sudden, what happened? If suddenly you forget me, do not look for me, for I shall already have forgotten you. Right? If you go little by little, I'll also go little by little. But if you choose to go all of a sudden, then don't look for me too, because I would have already gone. So if you don't need me today, I didn't need you yesterday itself. That kind of thought we used to say to our loved ones, no? So this is the same kind of thought the poet also seems to have. So he is, and maybe he's in a very troubled kind of a mindset, and he wants to be loved. So he's also afraid, he's also anxious that the present in unfavorable condition may deviate the lady from him. So he is warning her, threatening her that he loves her unconditionally, but if it's not unconditionally, actually conditionally, right? He loves her a lot, but if she chose to go away, then he would also do the same. If suddenly if you get me, do not look for me, for I shall already have forgotten you. Very strong feeling has been expressed using these simple words. Next stanza. If you think it long and mad, the wind of banners that pass through my life, and you decide to leave me at the shore of heart where I have roots, remember that on that day, at that hour, I shall lift my arms and my roots will set off to seek another land. Continuation of the same thread. So this tells you why he is feeling that way, an insecure kind of a feeling why he gets. If you think it long and mad, the wind of banners that passes through my life. So if you anticipate that the troubles, the wind is the struggle that he is going, undergoing right now, or the unfavorable time that he is undergoing now. So if you think it long and mad, so it is going to last for a long time, and that it is not good for you. The wind of banners, his life is considered to be a banner, a piece of cloth that gets shattered or carried away by the wind. If you feel that that is the reason, if you want to go away from my life, if you think that my struggle is going to be prolonged, and you decide to leave me at the shore. So if you, all these unfavorable condition makes you leave me thinking that it is going to last forever and leave me in the shore in between. of the heart where I have roots. You know, I have my roots strongly implanted in your heart. But if you unroot me and leave me in the shore because of the unfavorable condition that now I am undergoing, then remember that on that day, when you choose to leave me or uproot me from your heart, then on that day, at that very same hour, I shall lift my arms and my root will set off to seek another land. I will not linger behind you, begging you for your love. What will I do? I lift my hands off and I let myself be carried away along the wind, and I'll definitely find another land. Again, the land imagery has been used to refer to women and their heart. Land may be the heart of another woman, right? So the poet is saying that do not think of leaving me. If you think of leaving me, I would have gone from your life long back. If you do not want me today, I would have gone yesterday itself. And if you, decide to uproot me, take me off from the roots of your heart, then I will definitely find roots in a new heart. So I will not be finding and wasting my life thinking about your life. I will definitely find another woman whose heart I will set my roots. So again, a threatening tone. So if we find in these three stanzas, third, fourth, and fifth stanza, he continues in the mood of despair and hopelessness. Maybe his love is not going to be successful, is what we understand. And the reason behind this is that he's undergoing some struggle in his life. His life is very troublesome now because of his existence in exile. He feels very lonely away from his country as well as from his loved ones. And maybe the anxiety gives him the feeling that the lover is not returning the love, or she may forget the love. So he threatens her, saying that do not try to, threaten me with the thoughts of leaving away. If you go, I will also find another girl or a woman. Then comes back to his romantic mood. This is the end of the poem where we find, but if each day, each hour, you feel that you are destined for me with implacable sweetness. Implacable sweetness means unrelenting. You cannot stop that sweetness. If each day a flower climbs up to your lips to seek me, ah, my love, ah, my own. In me, all that fire is repeated. In me, nothing is extinguished or forgotten. My love feeds on your love, beloved. And as long as you love, it will be in your arms without leaving mine. Once again, back to the very romantic mood. So his tone changes here, and he becomes very passionate here, and comparing his love to that of the fire. See, but if each day, each hour, you feel that you are destined for me. But if you don't have any plan of leaving me, and your love is as passionate as it was in the initial days, with that unstoppable sweetness, if each day a flower climbs up to your lips to seek me, ah, my love, ah, my own, in me all the fire is repeated. But if you chose to love me, and every flower that you take, you take to your lips reminds you about my love. I repeat, a flower that you take to your lips. I mean, we have the habit of smelling the flowers, right? When you take that, or kissing the flower, when you take maybe the rose, when she takes it to the lips, it reminds her about him. Then his love is not quenched. It is like a fire that is repeated in me. Nothing is extinguished. Nothing had been put off or forgotten. My love feeds on your love. So as long as you love me, my love remains the same. So my love feeds on your love. As long as you have love for me, my love is never extinguished, and it is as passionate as ever. And as long as you live, it will be in your arms without leaving me. So he once again images himself, his love to be a flower that would be in the arms of the lady love forever. So as long as you have love, I will remain in your hand, just like the flower that you hold in your hand. So I will be in your hand, never leaving mine. So once again assuring her he loves her and he wants to be with her, and he will be loving her forever, provided she loves her forever. So it's a conditional love. I would say that it's not unconditional love, but it's a conditional love where the poet wants himself to be loved. This is a very natural feeling. Anyone who loves expect the same thing to be returned, especially when they are insecure. They expect the person whom they love to return the love. So that could be it. It's not a warning or a kind of, he's not a very rude person. You should not come to that understanding. It is his insecurity or his anxiety that he may lose his lady love that makes him come out with those threatening. So he once again assures her the love is very, very fresh and very passionate like that of the fire, but he should get the love back as he loves her. The end of the poem. So this is the literal meaning of the poem. Now we have come to the other side of the poem, it can also be read as a patriotic poem. I told you in the beginning of this presentation that he was a devoted communist. He believed in communism. He extolled Stalin and he tried to follow Soviet Union as his example. In 1945, he was elected to serve as a senator in the native Chile. So he was elected as a member of Communist Party and he became the senator in Chile. But what happened in 1946? His campaign manager, he was a campaign manager for his friend Gabriel Gonzalez Videla. He was his friend and who was elected to power, but he turned against his communist party when he was elected to office. So in 1948, Neruda had to escape from Chile for over a year. I told you 13 months he was away from Chile and spent in Mexico. He was away from his friends and supporters, and it was during this period of exile that he wrote the poem. And you can replace all the words of the words that shows his love for his lady love with the country. So he feels he's missing his country a lot. So all the threatening is to the country Chile. So he says that if you leave me, if you choose to forget me, if you do not want me back to serve you, then you can also be sure that I will move away from you forever. So the lady love can be replaced with the land Chile, his own nation Chile. That is what the critics believe. Critics believe this poem was written not to his lover but to his homeland of Chile, warning her not to forget him while he is forced to be on exile. So this image of land, shore, everything shows that this could be the inner meaning of the poem. It's not simply written or addressed towards his lady love Matilda, but it could also be for the land Chile, from where he has been forcibly sent away when communism failed. So lady love can be very well replaced with the country Chile, is what the opinion of the critics of that time. So now you understood how it could be read as a poem that shows his nationalistic feeling. Now we come to the style of the poem. If you forget me, it's a poem comprised of 6 stanzas of varying length. So it is written in free verse. So no rhyme scheme and no particular stanza style has been followed. So it is said to be written in a free verse and their lines are unrhymed. And we find the poem filled with images like moon, autumn, fire, log, all those things that comes in the very first stanza itself. The images are very picturesque and that suggests the different passion or different emotions that he has for the lady love. And metaphor is also there. Metaphors are also there. Boat is the thoughts that takes him, and the land is land and shore. Island, land, shore. They repeatedly refer to the lady love, Matilde, or the country Chile. And there is also personification. Personification. Log has been personified, and it is said to have wrinkled skin, as like human being. The skin of the log is said to be wrinkled. Means a very dry log of wood. Then the island and the shore. Again, it is personified into a human being, a lady. So this is about the stylistic feature. Now we come to the imagery. When you look at the imagery, you find that flower being used repeatedly. The sweetness of the character has been imaged as a flower. So the lips of the lover blooms like a flower. It can also be read like that. And fire stands for the very passionate feeling that the poet has for the lady love. So you could see the fire growing and dying. Like that, the love, the passion he has for the lady love also grows and dies. So this is a very picturesque imagery also that he used. So that's about the poem, girl, that you understood, I hope. It's a simple love poem that talks about the poet's love for his lady love. Thank you.